Welcome to another episode of the Talent Transformation Podcast. Today we have Rachel Raymond. Rachel is the Director of Talent Acquisition, People Technology, and Analytics at Jack Henry. Rachel, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here, Rachel. I think we should start with Jack Henry.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it. It's not exactly a household name yet, so
No.
we want to get into it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I started as a recruiter there 9 years ago, and so I was often battling: are you calling from a law firm or a staffing firm? But Jack Henry has been in business for over 45 years. We're a publicly traded organization focusing on financial technology, supporting small and mid-sized financial institutions across the United States.
Okay, so the first thing I think about is open banking.
Yeah. So we do a lot in open banking. We've really transformed the last few years. We do the core systems, so that's where we kind of got our start. So running, the core of the financial institutions, all of your transaction processing, teller systems, things like that.
Right.
But we do everything from those core systems to digital banking to payments, mobile applications. So if you are a customer of one of those financial institutions and you're, using their mobile app or you're using one of their online banking solutions, it's often Jack Henry.
Good. And you've been there for 9 years. So you said you started as a recruiter there.
Yeah.
And how did you end up in the role you have now? Because now you've got a couple of big things.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey. So my background's in technical recruiting. So I started in a software consulting firm, moved to Kentucky with my husband for his job, stumbled across Jack Henry, didn't really even know what I was getting into when I joined. I was supported, and so I was in the recruiter role for 4 or 5 years, and then moved into a talent advisor role, and then a talent acquisition leader. When I took over that role, we had some organizational changes, and so I also got more of the TA ops, so our vendor staffing, contingent labor, intern programs, anything that kind of goes along with that. And then in that role, I implemented our ATS with you all through Aperture.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, it was very interesting. We started the implementation in March of 2020 and went live on June 1st. So during the pandemic, when everyone was doing puzzles, I was
Doing
configuring
implementations.
workflows.
Right.
So I was in that talent acquisition manager role for several years. We ended up bringing our HR technology team back from tech services into HR about 15 months ago.
Okay.
So we've kind of moved that team a couple times. And so I was actually on maternity leave and came back, and my boss, our CPO, said, "Would you like the tech
You
team?"
more. Okay.
Because I had been successful with the Aperture application.
Right.
Seemed to be relatively more technical than I had thought I was. And so
Yeah.
ended up there, and then analytics was kind of a natural progression.
Yeah. We discover the inner technologist
Yes.
in people in the HR world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, I can barely update like my iPhone, but I
building workflows
build
and
workflows
and,
and
and
all those
creating
things.
portals. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that we like that.
Yeah.
We think that's good.
Right.
Because we think that you really know what you want.
Yeah.
And I think our vision of modern managers are that they just do get their hands on technology.
Yeah.
Because it's just the way technology is just so there's no way to do your job without it.
Right.
Whereas you could do your job without it 30 years ago, and you could still be successful.
Yeah.
I think you can't be successful today without
No.
some ability to execute technically.
Yeah, we make a lot of eyes widen on our team when we talk about what we were doing prior to Aperture, watching wheels spin while waiting for resumes to load and
Right.
things like that. So we've done a pretty significant technology transformation on the talent acquisition side over the last couple of years, and now we're trying to transform that into other areas of our people and culture team.
Yeah. Let's talk about culture, because culture is very important in every company. But when you're trying to compete in the tech world, culture is even more important, because all of your employees really have a large number of options. There's you're never really locked into a job in tech. So what is the culture there?
Yeah. I mean, Jack Henry is a pretty unique culture. It's a very humble organization. One of the things that I found challenging in the recruiter role is we actually like didn't talk about ourselves enough. I'm like, we can flaunt this. I need people to know who we are and what we do. But they're just really focused on, doing the right thing, doing what it takes and have fun doing it. And that's kind of what they live by. And so they've created a really good culture of family values, people first approach. And, kind of their view and our view is if your associates are happy, they're going to make the customers happy, which then makes your stakeholders happy. And so it starts with the associate and then carries through. And so they lead by example. Our leaders are very open. They're very transparent. They do a lot to make sure that associates are taken care of, they're communicated to. And I think that just that consistency and that expectation of being part of the organization has helped us remain keep that culture.
You ended up with a tech group.
Yes.
What surprised you about that when you got it?
For me, I mean, talent acquisition and HR tech, you don't typically see leaders on both. And so I'm used to, I think recruiters, we're good salespeople, right? We're loud, we talk a lot. And, I got to the tech team and they were like, wait, you want me to turn my camera on? You want to talk to me? What are we doing here? So it was a little bit of a culture shift for me in terms of, leadership. But I think the biggest surprise was just probably on the other side, on the recruiting side. I was like, oh, just add this feature, or let's do this, or let's do that. And I didn't realize how much I was probably driving the tech people crazy when I was making those requests, because they were just kind of sporadic or in the moment. I'd leave the Avature conference and I'd be like, I have 6 things that we want to do next week. And so I really learned the importance of understanding the scope of what you're trying to do, the dependencies of what you're trying to do, the effort. And I don't think I had that kind of full realization until I started, managing those teams. So that was a big shift. So.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I did recruiting and then I did technology. Well, I did technology first, but then I did recruiting and technology. And recruiting is hurry up, everything immediate, and technology needs a plan and very defined scope. And so, but you've made the adjustments. People analytics now. Are you happy with where you are with your people analytics? And do you think that your people analytics is, the dream of people analytics is that you can understand your culture through your analysis?
Yes.
Okay. That's a high bar.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you in that journey?
So I took over leadership over the people analytics team about 9 months ago.
Okay.
And so, I took the first couple of months to kind of evaluate, where are we? What are we doing? What data are we missing? I would say we're still in the early stages of the journey. We have good foundational data. We've got good kind of standard reports, and we do a good job getting the data in front of the people. But where we're trying to really push the envelope is the correlation between the programs, right? I think if you look back, 6 or 7 years ago, talent acquisition managed talent acquisition data, learning managed learning data. But now I think just the human resources space is so intertwined. And so we're trying to start correlating a lot of dependencies. So, how does learning impact internal mobility? And then from internal mobility, employee engagement, and, how does comp ratio potentially impact these things? And so we're trying to start correlating data from, different systems and starting to kind of bring the picture together to understand how all of our work on the HR side connects together.
So connects together and sort of achieves its goal. Moving the right people into the right jobs. Moving people into jobs where they can be successful. Okay. And when you can't do that, finding people outside that can do those jobs, and having a learning plan for somebody who's close to being able to do something but not quite there yet. And it's full timely information too. And thing is, I think, you want to analyze and understand, but you want to take that data and then actually translate that into action in all of these programs, which are often in a lot of different systems too. So it can be difficult. But I guess if you're at it for 9 months, you would be just logically at the early stages of it. And it'd be hard to be anywhere else.
A few weeks ago, I put together, I said, does anyone have a full picture of all of the data we have? Like all of our data sources, where we're pulling it from, just collectively as an HR team. And I put the list of data sources in front of everyone, and people were like, oh, wow, that's a lot of places. And
Right.
so they started to kind of understand where the challenge is to kind of bring that together and kind of drive that strategy. So we've got a lot of plans in place over, the next couple of months, and it's going to be a multi-year journey.
And you have talent acquisition,
Mhm.
people analytics,
Mhm.
and
HR tech. Yeah.
HR tech. So do you have all of HR tech?
So I have most of the analysts on our team. So
Right.
historically, we've had HRIS analysts that were on the HR side, then they were moved under the tech service umbrella and then back. And they have been singularly focused on HCM.
Okay.
What we're trying to do now is expand more over function. So having analysts focus on our skill strategy, which may be in multiple applications. And so kind of
Yeah.
deriving what are the requirements and the needs, and then bringing in the right technology partners. So if we need to work with developers on our tech services side, integration teams, security, they're kind of pulling the pieces together to help get the work
Right.
done. So we're taking a little bit of a different approach. We're starting to bring in those analysts to support other applications that historically the, SME leader over, maybe learning has been kind of the sole point person trying to kind of haphazardly navigate. Oh, I don't even who do I go to,
Right.
when this happens.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to bring a little bit more consistency and support to all of the applications that we have on the
Right.
HR side.
So are you trying to develop sort of an overall framework that all of these applications sit in terms of how you think about it, not just in terms of, well, obviously data, because you've already
Yeah.
been mapping where all your data is coming from. But when you talked about skills, for example,
Mm-hmm.
most of our customers have skills in 3 or 4 different systems.
Mm-hmm.
And they're struggling with, skills are going to intelligence, right? AI is impacting skills in a good way. But B, when you have 4 different systems that are doing it, some of the challenges are, well, who governs what the skills should be? I mean, is it this
Yeah.
system or that system? And then you get the impedance between the different systems. How are you dealing with that? Do you have a lot of legacy? Are you digging out of a big legacy situation?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah. So we're modernizing all of our solutions. So we are in the process of moving over our HCM to a cloud-based solution. We're an on-prem solution right now.
Okay.
So that's,
Yeah.
in flux and in process. So we're doing pretty much major upgrades on
Right.
majority of our systems and really trying to just understand what are the use cases, what is the source of truth,
Yeah.
what is the temporary source of truth, because some things may move into, the new cloud-based, so the HCM solution. Right now, we're not doing a lot of new in that because we're
Right.
transforming it. So do we have any kind of solutions that kind of bridge that gap for the next, 2 years as we're going through some of these major shifts and implementations? So.
Yeah. I'm very impressed. You've come from recruiting to managing tech in a tech company.
Yep.
Okay. How does it feel to be managing tech in a tech company?
Like I'm generally over my head most days. Yeah, they talk about imposter syndrome, and it's
Sometimes you think about that. Yeah, it's a real phenomenon. Yeah.
I have very good leaders that report to me over each of my function areas that
Right.
they really keep me in line to make sure. I'll say I'm going to start talking about this, but feel free, you cut me off
Yeah.
if I'm saying the wrong thing over here. And so I've learned a lot from them. They've got years, in their industry and
Yeah.
deep knowledge. And so having good leaders is really helpful so that I
Yeah.
can navigate, more of the high level strategy, move the roadblocks out of their way and let them, do their jobs.
Do their jobs and figure out how to weave it all together so that it has a right impact.
Yep.
Which can be difficult when you're a tech person running a tech group. It's very hard to tie that to impacting the company.
Yeah.
You need somebody above you helping you do that.
Yeah.
And I think, even, in software companies like ours, a huge number of technical people. But when we're designing product, some of those people, their backgrounds are very varied.
Mhm.
And essentially you are sort of constructing a large product,
Yep.
okay, that serves the strategic objectives of the organization. And it seems like you're having fun doing it.
Yeah.
It seems like you're very excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sort of someone who has never had a career plan,
right.
which kind of throws people off when I say that. Like I was asked if I ever wanted to manage anyone, 4 or 5 years ago, and I said probably not. And here I am with 3 or 4 different teams.
I have a habit of putting people in management that say they don't necessarily want to manage people.
Yeah,
Um,
I just like
yeah,
challenges. I like
yeah,
puzzles. I like being challenged,
right,
interesting conversations, and so when I get bored with my work, that's when I do probably my worst work.
right,
So
right.
I enjoy the change. I like the interconnectedness. I feel like I'm finding new pockets of things that we've kind of missed over the years where we can kind of start pulling them together. And it's been fun, busy,
Yeah.
good.
And just in case you get bored, we have artificial intelligence coming along
Yes, yeah.
to kind of throw another element into the soup.
Mm-hmm.
How much are you thinking about that, or are you still mostly getting your hands around the legacy and the infrastructure, or are you starting to already think about how AI is going to impact?
Yeah.
And is that well? Let me ask you something different. How much time do you spend talking to the tech people that build the products and solutions that you provide to the banks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, we're bringing AI into our product solutions at Jack Henry.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a huge, for bankers, being able to kind of navigate, customer questions and policies and things like that, and bringing the kind of that chat into our digital banking, and
Yeah.
that AI assist has been really great. So I know we'll have a lot of interest there, and we just had our conference last week where we announced a lot of those programs and releases. So that was good. And then across the organization, we have a AI governance council. But really, I think someone mentioned it on the stage earlier today. We've really kind of democratized AI in the sense of here's some tools and
Yeah.
see what you can do. We're starting to look at specific roles in the company and kind of coming up with profiles to see how you can leverage AI for kind of your standard worker, right? Some people think, oh, AI is not going to do anything for my job, but here are the ways it can. And
Yeah.
so helping with writing prompts and presentations and understanding your data. So we've brought Copilot into the organization, and just they're just trying to find your use cases,
Yeah.
see what works,
Yeah.
play around with it. Don't do anything silly. Don't put our code in
Right. Yeah. Don't put the code.
ChatGPT.
We have that rule too.
Um,
Yeah.
But, see what you can do and just try to figure out how it works
Yeah.
best for you.
Right.
We conducted an AI survey across our entire associate population to get a sense for how people are feeling about it. What's the sentiment? How are they using it? What tools are they using? Just to kind of get a baseline. And it was all over the place. I mean, it was like 50-50. I use it or don't. Some people were like, it's evil, or, it's going to take my job. And
Right.
others see it, so
Yeah.
it's just for us right now, it's a lot of, presenting how you can use it, how it will, benefit your job and how you can upskill and, things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot around communication just on what we're doing with it is really critical.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's going to have impact in lots of little areas, which is hard to quantify.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, in some cases, there's going to be some big boom
Yeah.
impact, but it's hard to know exactly where they're
Right.
going to be right now.
Mhm.
Right. Talk to me a little bit about internal mobility. Is that something that you do a lot? Is that something you have systems for?
Yeah.
Is that have a big impact in your organization?
It does. Yeah. So we have made a pretty significant effort over the past 4 years to focus on internal mobility. I think somewhere, maybe 2021, somewhere in that time. I feel like those years got a little fuzzy.
A little fuzzy, yeah.
We had some really conservative policies around internal mobility, and it was causing us to lose people because they could not even apply for positions if they had not been in their role for at least 2 years. And
Right.
so we were losing good talent because they felt stuck. And so we put some business cases together and we changed the policy down to 6 months. and really created a lot more transparency. We went live with an internal career site. We created a lot more like personalized touch points, with the recruiters and our associates to make sure they don't get missed in the process.
Right.
One of the challenges was we had a lot of, prior to our ATS implementation, we had a lot of associates that were getting missed. We were tracking them by like spreadsheet because we couldn't pull that unique identifier out of the ATS we were using previously.
Okay.
So we had a lot of people that were getting missed. They were just feeling disgruntled about the process. And so we totally revamped it and we changed our policy. So we went from we had about a 16% internal mobility rate, and now we hover between like 29 and 32%.
Oh, wow.
If you actually take out our 4 like entry level jobs, like we have some jobs that are just no one's ever moving internally into them because it's just baseline entry.
Yeah.
If you take those out, we're about 40% of our jobs are filled with associates. So a lot of the recs that we fill is kind of a downstream impact of just associates moving. And so it's been great because it's increased retention. We have people that are happier. We focus on career growth and development.
People that know the company better.
They know the company well.
That's right, yeah.
So that's been good. And we're trying to find ways to now kind of help the business be a little bit more purposeful with internal mobility. So for example, we have some really old technology, like we still hire RPG programmers.
Oh.
No one's teaching RPG.
PG3 or
Yep.
PG4?
Yeah, 3. We're on the I-Series. We're one of the biggest IBM, consumers.
Yeah.
No one's teaching RPG in
No.
school. And no one wants to go into RPG. But we have people from, our contact center who understand our products that move into implementation, and then we'll educate them on RPG. And they've got this whole career path now that they came for a contact center job, and now they're a programmer. And so
it's life-changing.
It's really cool, and it fills a gap that we have where we can't really go to the external market and find a lot of people that want to do it.
Right.
So we've been very intentional with some of our programs like that so that we can really build those talent pipelines, but still support that culture of mobility and learning.
It was interesting what you said is that you're trying to get more intentional about the internal mobility. I think a lot of our customers start with internal mobility by releasing the policies. They have a lot of policy constraints, right? So you kind of like say, okay, we're really going to do this because we know it's going to lower turnover, okay? It's particularly important with the younger generations, which are less willing to stay in a job that is no longer interesting to them.
Yeah.
Right? We've taught them from school now that you always have to be interested in what you're doing. And so they need to be challenged a lot. But you release the policies, you let people move around because it keeps people from leaving. But then they start thinking about this intentionality, and they say, okay, but there could be a strategic tilt to this, right? I mean, yes, we want people to move around so that they don't leave and so that they're happy, but we also have very specific goals that we need to accomplish.
Yeah.
And you start to try, and are you at that stage? It sounds like you're getting to that stage where you say our mobility has to be more than just keeping people happy, right?
Yeah, we're trying to be intentional and solve business problems with it, right? And so trying to kind of bridge that gap. I think you're always, whenever you're looking at programs, there's obviously, what's in it for the business, but also what's in it for the employee. You're trying to kind of merge those more. We still expect people to manage their career. Like, we're not going to say, hey, we're going to fill your application out and we're going to tell you to go here. Like, there is still, some onus on those associates to take the classes, take the job, shadowing opportunities, learn from the group, right? Like, be proactive and, manage your career. But we'll give you some guidance on some paths that have been really successful for others. So it's a balance.
Yeah, I've noticed in Avature that there's a little bit of internal recruiting going on.
Yeah.
Do you notice that? It's kind of like, somebody's like looking around.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting. It's a different dynamic than, you would see years ago. I guess maybe it happened at some level, but I think now it's something you just got to get used to. It's somebody's making a pitch to somebody else because they want them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, we've done a lot. It's that's also, I would say that's a balance too. So we've done a lot to be focused on like a one Jack Henry approach, where we're seen as one company and not these divisions, which have been really helpful. But still, managers don't like when you tap their employee on the shoulder and say, hey, you got to go over here.
No. But I've noticed that to some extent, your manager has to be able to keep you interested in what you're doing for them.
Yeah.
So if somebody else in the organization comes along and says, you really should be doing this because this is better for you, blah, 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 I think you have to, if you don't hear anything from your own manager, yeah, okay, I guess somebody wants me.
Yeah.
But you should always be in a state where you do kind of know that your manager wants you, right? I mean, you're like, well, and then I think if you understand that if you do well, people do come and ask you to work for them.
I mean, we added a career conversation prompt into performance management so that our associates can add their career aspirations in there, and the manager has to respond. So we know, even for those leaders that maybe are hesitant to have those conversations, they are at least doing it twice annually, at their mid-year check-in. And then, I've tapped one of my associates. I had an associate on maternity leave, and a job came up, and I called her and I said, I know you don't have access to the system right now, but we got to get you access because this is this is your job.
Yeah, it's your job, right?
And, she's thrived in it. And I share that story with people, and they're like, wait, you told your employee to apply to another role? Like, yeah,
Right for her.
Yeah, it was the right fit for her. I'm not here to own her career.
Right.
It's her career. And then we've introduced some things, like we've used an opt-in campaign through our internal mobility portal that we've pushed out to all of associates to complete their profile, add their skills, but then also ask them their preferences. What are you interested in? How much time do you have a week to potentially get on some special projects so you can gain some experience, things like that. And we're working on pushing out communication so that we're not necessarily targeting individuals per se,
right?
But we can say, hey, everyone who's opted in, they want to move to a new role and they're interested in these areas. Here are some roles that are open, and here's what we're doing in this space. So we're having more targeted communications around development opportunities.
That's so important, because I see sometimes companies, they create the internal mobility program and they stop with the internal career site.
Yeah.
And many people don't believe in internal mobility. They say, oh, that doesn't exist, so I'm not going to go to the site. Okay. And the engagement is low. You don't get the impact. But I always say that the internal mobility has to have an outward engagement. But you came from recruiting, so this is almost an instinct. Yeah, really. So, is there anything you're not doing right now that you're really super eager to do, or you just sort of have your plan for a while?
I think we're accomplishing a lot of what we're wanting to do. We're trying to be a little bit intentional on the skills approach. I would say that's kind of a, that's also a balance. We have use cases around different areas, but we don't have that long-term plan on how we're using it for workforce planning. So we're kind of evolving some of that into that talent strategy. And then, just focusing on kind of the technology and how do we interconnect our work and be really solution focused as an HR team and not be so singular. So, I don't know if I need to add too much more on my plate.
No, I think
can't in a lot of areas, but it's all exciting and good.
I think you've got it covered, really. All the things you're doing sound like the things that people are either doing or want to be doing. Yeah. Okay. And so it's great to hear that. I'd love to hear how that goes as you progress. Yeah. So that I think that would be interesting, and it sounds though like you're doing really all the right things. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah. So fantastic. Thanks a lot for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.